Hi and welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Linda. I am the owner of SchminkenGrime, a special effects and makeup store in the Netherlands. And in today's video, I am going to play with the Skin Imitator by Neill's Materials for the very first time and create this effect on the skin. So if you're curious on how it works, what you can do with it, then please keep watching. The Skin Imitator by Neill's Materials comes in a little pouch and it has 4 jars. So typically on skin silicone sets usually have 2 jars. It's just A and B. If you have kind of a good one, you would have a deadener with it, like with the Sculpt Gel by Mold Life. And this one even has 4 jars. So there is an A, there are 2 components B, and there is the C or the deadener. So there is a B in there that's clear and there is a B in there that's flesh tone. So you can choose if you want to make a clear effect or already want to start with a flesh tone. So logically you would run out of the A sooner than out of the B because you have more of the B, but you can buy the jars separately as well. So you could just buy a refill for the A and continue working with the same set. And I'm going to treat this video as if you have never worked with Sculpt Gel or on-skin silicone before. So most important is that you don't mix the A and B in the jar. So keep the lid on the correct pot and don't get any of the A in the B or the B in the A, because the chemical reaction will set off in the pots as well, and then you would be left with a product you can't use anymore. So what I'm going to do is scoop a little bit of the A on a mixing palette, and then I'm really cleaning my spatula before continuing to the B. If you think this is kind of risky still, you could also use tongue depressors with a different tongue depressor for each pot, so you're sure you won't mix any in the pots. So I have the A on my mixing palette and I'm going to add the B, and you want kind of the same amount. You don't have to weigh it, but getting almost the same on there by eyesight is enough. So there is the A and the B. And if I would mix these two, I would get a silicone that sets, but it would be kind of firm on the skin. And that would be fine on my nose, on my forehead, on my cheekbones. But if I would want to put it somewhere that stretches, like around my mouth or in my neck or on my cheeks, it would need something to make it more flexible, and that's where the C comes in. This makes it more flexible and durable on the skin. I always add equal amounts, so I have the same amount of A, B and C, but you could put more C in your mix if you want to make it even more flexible. But keep in mind the curing process will be longer the more C you add to your mix. So I'm just going to do equal amounts of A, B and C. Now all the parts are on my mixing palette. I'm going to mix them to make a nice even paste of it. But keep in mind, as soon as I start mixing this, the A and the B get mixed and the chemical reaction starts, and kind of the timer on how much time you have to make your effect. Usually, and I have never worked with this one before, you have about 10 minutes before it's all set, depending on skin temperature, room temperature. If it's colder, you have a little bit longer. If it's warmer, you have a little bit shorter. It's kind of playing with it enough to know what you can expect. So I'm gonna mix it up and create a wound. And as you can see, I still have a skin tone, but it's kind of lighter than I just had because I mixed those semi-transparent A and C with it. I'm quickly gonna start applying it to my skin. And first I'm just putting a layer on there. It's a gel. It doesn't really work with me because it all sticks to my skin and my spatula, but just get the basic shape on there you want to create your wound with. And once you have enough of the Sculpt Gel on there, you get a little baby wipe and clean your spatula, because the product will keep sticking to your spatula and that's not something that's loads of fun. So that is why we have the alcohol. If you dip your spatula in the alcohol, the product won't stick to your spatula anymore. It's kind of a barrier that prevents the Sculpt Gel from sticking. So first up, I am going to try to make a nice base that has a nice blend from the skin to the skin imitator. And I keep dipping my spatula in the alcohol to keep enough alcohol on there. And if a little bit of the skin imitator gets stuck on your spatula, clean it, dip in the alcohol again and just continue. So the prettier the base you have, the more convincing the effect will be once you are done. And you can work with a spatula, but you could also dip your finger into the alcohol and a stipple sponge to make that nice base. So for skin tone, it's kind of light. It's a little bit lighter than my own skin tone, but there's no purple in there, there is no red in there. So for me, adding a little bit of red would kind of make it into my own skin tone. Maybe a little bit of yellow. I think it would be easy to color this one. Now the basic layer is kind of on there, and as I want it, I have a stipple sponge dipped in the alcohol as well. And I'm going to stipple over it because I have kind of obvious pores on my skin. I kind of want those to be in that skin imitator to make it more looking like skin. And now the base is on there, we are going to continue to the pointy side of the spatula to create the wound. I will also dip this one in the alcohol and then we are going to carve our effect. So wiggle that spatula around on the skin to make an interesting looking effect. Clean your spatula and just continue with what you were doing. And now the effect is on my skin. I'm gonna wait until the skin imitator on the mixing palette has set. Once the sculpt gel has set, you need to powder it with a setting powder. So this has two purposes. One is that it mattifies the skin imitator. Let's do my lips first to make it easier to talk. So powdering the skin imitator or the unskinned silicone gets rid of the stickiness of it, and it mattifies the product, so it makes it easier to color it in a little bit. And just be gentle and powder every little bit of that skin imitator. To color the on-skin silicone or the skin imitator, you can use different products. You could work with water-based face paints, you could work with grease paints, or you could work with my personal favorite, alcohol activated makeup. So this is the Skin Cover Up palette by Encore. It has all lovely skin tones, greenish color, and I think it's called mauve. Yes, a mauve color, and I'm going to use it to color the outside of the sculpt gel into my skin tone. This doesn't have to be an exact match because obviously this is a wound and there will be loads of blood, but I always like to get as close as I possibly can in a short amount of time to my own skin tone. So first I activated the pink color because I have a little bit of lip that needs to get back into kind of my own lip color. And as I said, it doesn't have to be an exact match, but it would be nice to have a bit more of my own lip color in there again. So my lip is a little bit darker than the mauve color, but I think it is okay. So I'm gonna dilute this color a little bit and use the same color on the bits of my face where I know I usually have kind of red in there. and just adding a little bit of color can go a long way. Continuing to the SFX palette, also an Encore palette, and it has all colors to create trauma. So there are colors in there for bruises and all stages of wounds. I'm gonna start out with the lightest red color to color the inside of this wound. And I switch from the lightest color in my palette to a shade darker and darker and darker until I'm happy with what I see on the skin. And although I know there's gonna be blood in there covering up this work, I think it adds to realism to really take your time and color the inside of the wound. Time to add some blood, and I have the Form Gel in the color Classic by the Dark Arts Company. It is a lovely color of fresh blood for new wounds, and I'm gonna apply it in the wound with my spatula and then distribute it with a brush. So let's get a bit in there. Get the small brush. So one of the great features about the blood by the Dark Arts Company is that it dries. So it dries and it will just stay where you put it. It's for the gels, but it's also for the liquid bloods. And not having to worry about transferring your blood onto other people or on your clothes is a great feature, if you ask me. So that is the thick blood. Now we're going to continue to a liquid blood, and I have the Mold Life aged blood because I just love the aged blood by Mold Life. I'm going to put it in a little cup and apply it with a brush to the wound. I'm kind of smearing that blood everywhere. If you've seen loads of my videos, you've seen me do this before. And I'm curious to see how this behaves on the Skin Imitator. Then I get my baby wipes and kind of make it into a little ball and dab away that blood again. Also from the inside of the wound, I just remove loads again. And then it's time for the finishing touches. So I have the mouth stain in red by FBFX, and this will color the inside of my mouth red. So my tongue, my gums, it will all just turn red. Because if I would have a wound like this one, there would be loads of blood in my mouth as well. So I'm first gonna do the mouth effects, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of the blood by Mold Life. This is a lovely peppermint tasting blood which you can safely use in your mouth. So let's get my mirror and first apply the mouth effects. For an extra effect, I kind of spilled a little bit on the outside of my mouth. I won't smear it because then it will be just pink everywhere. And finally, I'm gonna add some of the Mold Life blood. And there it is. And there it's gone again as well. And that completes my video on showing you the Skin Imitator by Neill's Materials. I must say I had loads of fun with it, and I can see why loads of people love working with it. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel in the link below. There, I think, or there. We will be back next week, and don't forget, if you need any makeup supplies, special effects makeup supplies or face painting supplies, feel free to visit our store. I hope to see you back here next week.